Namaste. Today I want to read the second part of chapter 12 of Osho's discourse, I Am Dead. And please just relax, sit down or lie down, whatever feels comfortable for you, and just listen to the words like you listen to a waterfall or like you're listening to running water. And there might come some deep relaxing state, so just let happen whatever will happen. Don't force yourself to listen. Don't force yourself to understand with the mind. Just relax and be in the present moment without doing anything. The effortless effort. Okay, so I'm trying to read now, and let's see how far I go. The other day I could not finish because I did not feel well the other day. I had a lot of process going on, so today let's see how far we will go. Come. Osho, the second question. Years ago you seduced us, the blind, into buying your miracle mirrors. We bought them thinking they were cheap and good looking. But soon they showed us our ugly faces and we were scared. But before we broke those mirrors, you encouraged us to go on looking, to go on watching, to go on witnessing, and in bargain you extracted from us the price of our very life. However, looking back, Osho, I find I have not paid a thing to you. It has all been a gracious gift from you for nothing. How shall I say thank you, Osho, for all this and for persevering with us and making us stick on until we really saw our original faces in the miracle mirrors of meditation. Still, I cannot keep wondering, Osho, why and how so many keep on missing you. Are they scared of the super salesman? Osho, what are they waiting for? Whom are they waiting for when this gift of gifts is incessantly showering all over? Ajit Saraswati. The work of a master is really the work of seduction. He seduces you into the unknown. There is no other way, only seduction can be helpful. You cannot be convinced of the unknown. Whatsoever you can be convinced about is bound to be the known. The unknown is unknown. You have not tasted of it, you have not even heard anything about it, you have no idea what it is. I can convince you of that which you have already some idea, but the unknown is absolutely unknown. And not only unknown, it is unknowable too. There is no way to know it because it is the intrinsic quality of the knower himself. It never becomes the known. At no point it becomes the known. The deeper you go into it, the more and more you realize that it is not only the unknown, but the unknowable, because it is the center of the knower himself. How the knower can himself become the known? That is impossible. The knower will always stand beyond the known, surpassing the known. Hence the work of a master is actually of seduction. He allures you, he fascinates you, he promises you bliss, truth, freedom. He gives it many names. He makes you afire with longing. A moment comes when the longing is intense and passionate and you take the jump. It is really mad. No logical person can do it. Hence, I have to destroy slowly your clinging with logic. I have to shift your energy from the head to the heart, because the heart is illogical, and from the heart there is a possibility, a bridge, a rainbow bridge towards the unknown and ultimate towards the unknowable. Hence, the word seduction actually describes the whole work of all the Buddhas. But the people who are too much clinging to logic cannot be seduced. If they ask first to be convinced, then there is no way. If they ask for proofs, then there is no way. If the Master himself is a proof, then there is a way. If the presence of the Master is enough to give you the joy that can take you into the adventure, if the very presence of the Master gives you courage to go into the uncharted, only then the journey ever begins. One thing is certain. Once the journey begins, you cannot come back. A journey began is already half the work done. Once it begins, it has to reach to its climax. Only the beginning part is the most difficult part. Hence I have to talk about the miracle mirrors, and I have to praise those miracle mirrors of meditation. I have to go on saying what great ecstasies they are going to give you. You are not interested in meditation, you are not interested in looking at your original face, but you are certainly interested in being ecstatic. But when you for the first time take the mirror in your hand, it gives you agony, not ecstasy, because you have to encounter all that is ugly in you, because the ugly is on the surface. But once you have seen the ugly, you cannot rest at ease with it. That's the only hope, because nobody can rest at ease with his ugliness. Once seen, you have to destroy it. You have to remove all the masks that are ugly. You have to peel the whole skin that is ugly. And behind the surface there is tremendous beauty. Behind the mask, and there are many masks, your original face is nothing but God's own face. In your originality you are not separate from God. In your personality you are separate. Personality comes from the Greek word persona. It means the mask. In your individuality, you are one with God. Then you have the beauty of a Buddha, Krishna, Christ, the same grace. But before one can reach to it, one will have to peel one's ugly layers like one peels an onion. And when you peel an onion, tears come to your eyes. It is painful. And your false masks have remained with you so long that they have almost become your faces. Removing them is not like removing clothes. It is actually like peeling your skin. It hurts. Hence, only the courageous can be interested in inner transformation. You ask me, Ajit Saraswati, Osho, why and how so many keep on missing you? They are cowards. They don't have any guts. They don't want to risk anything. And without risk, nothing can be gained in life. The higher the peak you want to reach, the greater the risk. The way of inner search belongs only to the gamblers, not to the businessman. And people are very calculating. They are constantly calculating. They are always thinking in terms of calculation. Not even for a single moment they are ready to risk anything. They want every kind of security, guarantee, safety. Then only they will budge an inch. And in the spiritual inquiry there is no safety, no security. In fact, that's why it has tremendous beauty. It is an adventure. The adventure cannot be secure. It is going beyond the boundaries of the known. When you are living with the boundaries of the known, things are secure. You know everything. You are efficient. When you move beyond the known, you are taking a risk. You may lose the known, and who knows whether you are going to gain anything in this adventure or not. You ask me, are they scared of the super salesman? They are simply scared of truth. Because they have lived in so many lies for so long, they are afraid. If truth comes, then all their lies will collapse. And they have invested not only this life, but so many previous lies in those lies. Their investments are great, and truth is going to shatter. They are not bold enough to allow the truth to come in, to accept the fact that truth destroy the lies. It is better that those lies should be destroyed sooner than later. Because if you don't destroy them today, then tomorrow one day more is lost. The next life, one life is more lost, and your investment becomes bigger and bigger with the lies. It is better to finish it quickly. The sooner you do, the better. But for that, a certain kind of usefulness is needed. And in this country particularly, there are only two categories of people, children and old people. The youth does not exist. From childhood, people simply move into old age. The time of youth, usefulness, rebellion, adventure never happens. And with me, only young people, young in the spirit I mean, can have any communion. And not only with me, it has always been so. With Buddha, with Jesus, with Lao Tzu, it was always the case. Only very few useful adventurers went with these dangerous people. They attained great treasures, but those treasures are not certain, not guaranteed. There is no insurance. You say, before we broke those mirrors, you encouraged us to go on looking, to go on watching, to go on witnessing, and into the bargain you extracted from us the price of our very life. However, looking back, Osho, I find I have not paid a thing to you. There is no need to pay anything to me, because whatsoever I am giving to you is not mine. It is God's, it is much yours as it is mine. What I am giving to you has been given to me. This is the way I am thanking God, by giving it to you. And, Ajit Saraswati, the only way to feel thankful is to share with others. Spread it far and wide. Whatsoever you have experienced, share it. And don't be worried about what people think of you. They will think you are mad. But if you talk to 100 people, at least there is a possibility of one person coming along with you. That's more than enough. It is a great reward. If you can transform one person, even that is enough. Millions are bound to remain in darkness. Nothing can be done about it, because that is their choice. It is their freedom. If they decide to remain in darkness, who are we to force them into light? We can go on trying, but ultimately it is going to be their decision. The only way to show our gratitude to the Master is to help others. If it has been a gracious gift to you, give it to others as a gracious gift. Give it without any idea of giving only, then it is gracious. Give it without any idea of reward only, then it is gracious. Simply give it for the sheer joy of giving it. You also say, how shall I say thank you, Osho? It has not to be said. You need not to say it. But I am hearing it. Your silence is enough. It can be said only through silence. There is no other way to say it. Words are very inadequate. And lastly, you ask, Osho, what are these people waiting for? Whom are they waiting for when this gift of gifts is incessantly showering all over? Ajit Saraswati, this world has been driven crazy. Crazy not in the sense of a spiritual madness, crazy in the sense that people have become split, people have become schizophrenic, people have been reduced to the lowest state of intelligence. Because all their oppressors, the exploiters, the leaders, the gurus, they all wanted it in this way. Men should not be allowed to be free. Men should not be allowed to be rebellious. Men should not be allowed to be intelligent. Intelligent people are dangerous for the status quo, for the establishment. The establishment wants people to be slaves, machine-like, robots, and they have succeeded. They start destroying a child the moment the child is born. They start crippling him, paralyzing him. It is a very strange world. First they cripple you, then they provide crutches for you. And when they provide crutches for you, they say, look what great service we are doing to you. First they make you blind, and then they give you glasses so that you can see a little bit. First they make you dependent, and then they start telling you how to be free. We are living in a very strange world. Up to now, humanity has lived in an insane way. It is ridiculous and absurd, and it is time that this should be finished. That's what my effort here is. Through my sannyas, to bring a new kind of man into the world, which will be divinely mad, but not schizophrenic. A new man centered in his being, that is the meaning of the word individual. He will be indivisible, you cannot split him. A woman approached a psychoanalyst and asked him, can you split me into two? The psychoanalyst could not believe his ears. People had been coming to him who suffering from all split personality, and this woman was asking, can you split me into two? He said, what is the matter with you? What do you want to be split into? The woman said, I feel so lonely. If you watch around yourself, you will be surprised how an insane humanity we have created. After several rounds of drinks at a cocktail party, a woman turned to her husband, Henry, don't you dare take another drink. Your face is getting all blurred already. A big 300-pound man was being led to the gallows. He looked at the trap and asked the hangman, are you sure that thing is safe? A research in sociology, making a survey of homosexuality, rang the bell of an apartment. The man who answered the door responded to his question. Homosexual? I never heard of that word. Wait, I will ask my wife. Turning his head, he called, "Ernest!" The morning after she left on her honeymoon, a bride returned home. She related, "I took off my clothes, then he took off his clothes, then he put on my clothes and left." A rabbi was telling a story. One day a poor woodcutter found a baby in the forest, but he didn't know how to feed him. So he prayed to God and a miracle happened. The woodcutter grew breasts and could feed the baby. "Rabbi," interrupted the listener, "I don't like this story. Why such a weird thing like breasts on a man? If God is almighty, he could have just dropped a bag of gold to give the woodcutter enough money to buy food for the baby." The rabbi meditated on this for a while, then said, "Why should God spend such a lot of money when he can just do a miracle?" In a deserted bar, two people were seated at opposite ends of the room. The Jew and the chap had been drinking for some time without noticing each other, when suddenly the Jew got off his stool, walked over to the chap and punched him on the nose. The dead Japanese, struggling to his feet, asked the Jew why he did that. "That was for Pearl Harbor," replied the Jew, and walked back to his stool. After a few more drinks, the chap got off his stool and walked over to the Jew. He punched him very hard on the nose. The Jew, from his crumpled position on the floor, asked what that was for. "That was for the Titanic," started the chap. "But it was an iceberg," complained the Jew. "Well," responded the chap, "iceberg, Greenberg, Silverberg, they are all the same." When the flood was finally over and the animals were going out of Noah's Ark, the elephant turned around the flea who was behind him and said, "Stop pushing me." This is the world we are living. People have been driven to the lowest intelligence possible, and to raise their intelligence back is an arduous task. It is a miracle if somebody listens to me, understands me, and starts transforming himself. It is happening to you, Ajit Saraswati. You are blessed. Very few are so blessed in the world. Just 1 second. So, the third question. Osho, what is nostalgia? Sahajo, nostalgia is the longing to go back to the good old days when you were neither good nor old. The fourth question. Osho, aren't you ever afraid that instead of the creation of a new kind of man, this is the creation of a new kind of sheep? Dick, I'm not afraid at all, because even if a new sheep is created, it is better than the old sheep. At least it will be new. And to be new is good. To be new is fresh. To be new opens new possibilities. Hence, I'm not afraid. But you must be attached with the old kind of sheep, hence you are afraid. I can only try to give birth to a new man, but the birth cannot be absolutely guaranteed. I will do my best. It does not matter to me whether I succeed or fail. What matters is whether I tried my best or not. And I'm trying my best, and that's all that I'm interested in. I'm enjoying my work. Who cares about the result? The people who care too much about the result simply waste their energy. Because caring about the result takes much of their energy. Then they become worried about the result. That is the distraction. Then the end becomes far more important than the journey itself. To me, the journey itself is enough. The search itself is more than enough. To me, the means and the ends are not separate. They are inseparable. Hence, what I'm doing, I'm enjoying. What happens, that is not at all a question to me. But why are you worried? You must be interested in keeping people in their old traps. I can do only one thing. You have heard the old proverb. This is a new edition of that old proverb. You can lead a hippie to water, but you cannot make him bath. I will lead the hippie to the water. That much I can do. I will persuade him, but then it is up to him to take a jump. into the river or not? And who am I to throw him into the river? I can show him the way to the river. I can even lead him to the river. Then it is his freedom. If he chooses to remain the same, I'm not going to disturb his freedom. I'm not going to do anything against him. I love every person as he is. I love my work. It is not work to me at all because I love it. It is just a play. But with you, Dick, there seems to be some problems inside you. Your question has nothing to do with my work. It has something to do with your prejudices. You ask me, aren't you ever afraid that instead of creating a new kind of man, this is the creation of a new kind of sheep? I'm trying to create a new man. Even if out of 100 only new man is created, that will bring the whole consciousness of humanity a step forward, a step upward. There is a possibility man will become only new kind of sheep, but then too it is not bad, that too is a gain. It is better to be alive, young, fresh, new, even though you are a sheep. But you must be somehow deeply interested in keeping people in their old patterns. Your investment must be there. Your prejudices must be those of Christian, a Jew, of a Hindu, or a Mohammedan. Two musicians were talking in the street when a large bell from a building being demolished fell nearby with a loud clang. "What's that?" asked one. "I'm not sure," said the other, "but I think it was B flat." People have their own languages, their own prejudices, and they cling to their prejudices. Even though their prejudices have been a sheer misery for them, still they cling. If you are an old sheep, Dick, at least become a new sheep, orange. It will not be a very great revolution, but even a little change is good, just for that little change, and a little change may open doors for greater changes. Two hobos sat with their backs against an old oak tree. Before them flowed a rippling stream. It was a delightful day, yet one of them was disconsolate. "You know, Slim," he said, "this tramping through life is not what I used to be. Things are getting tougher every year. I used to hop a fright chugging up a steep grade very easy, but these diesels go like mad. And I'm getting tired of spending my nights in a cold barn and on park benches wondering where my next meal is coming from. And odd jobs are getting scarcer all the time." His voice trailed off as he sighed. His companion turned to face him. "If that's the way you feel, why don't you hang it all up and find yourself a real job?" The first Trump raised his head and opened his mouth in amazement. "What?" he cried, "and admit I'm a failure?" Even a Trump, a hobo, a beggar, does not want to accept that he is a failure. Dick, the way you have asked a question simply shows that you are an old sheep, Catholic, Protestant, and you are afraid of the new sheep. You are not concerned about the new man. The old sheep is worried because what is going to happen to the old prejudices, the old conclusions, the old ideology. It seems as if it will be a deep discontinuity with the past, as if one dies and is reborn. But those who are ready to drop the old are not sheep. The very courage to drop the old is enough to prove that they are lions. The very courage that they are ready to come out of their old skins, their old prejudices, old ideologies, religions, philosophies, shows one thing very clearly, categorically, that they are not sheep, and that very courage is the hope for the birth of a new man. You just put your old prejudices aside and then try to understand what is happening here. Get a little bit involved and participate in what is happening here. You have lived according to your old beliefs. If you are contented, it will be the last person to disturb you. But if you are contented, why are you here? For what? You must be discontented. This is one of the strangest things about man. Even if he is discontented, he goes on believing, pretending that he is contented. And whenever there is an opportunity to change, and he's looking for an opportunity to change, this is the strangeness. When he finds the opportunity to change, he clings with the past. A doctor was consulted by a prize fighter who was troubled with insomnia. Have you tried counting sheep? Asked the doctor. Yes, but it doesn't help. Every time I get up to 9, I jump up. An old prize fighter, the moment he gets to 9, he cannot resist. Instead of giving him a good sleep, it will disturb him. He jumps up. People function mechanically, unconsciously. Your question has come out of your unconsciousness, Dick. The tavern was near an army camp, and the pretty barmaid was popular with the enlisted men, especially since she preferred them to the overbearing officer. One night, a polite young private was sitting next to a cocky first lieutenant who tried to date her. When the lieutenant went to the man's room, she put her face close to the private and whispered, "Now is your change, soldier." The private looked at the tempting red lips and then cried, "That's right," and he hastily drank the officer's beer. You are here, but not really here. And the way I talk must be so difficult for you to understand. If you have been listening to the sermons by the priest in the churches or the temples or in the mosques, then what I am saying here will look very irreligious, will look very strange to your ideas of what spirituality should be. But I cannot talk the way you are accustomed to hearing. You may be waiting for some esoteric bullshit. Cohn was home from seeing his doctor and met his friends who asked, well, what is wrong with you? I've got prostatitis, replies Cohn. Well, what is it, Dad? I pissed the way you talk. Okay. The new man can only be created with everything new. The way I talk, the way my people live, the way they behave, all has to be totally different from the old man. The new man cannot believe in your rotten morality. Your morality has only created hypocrites. The new man can live only authentically. He cannot be concerned with your moral and immoral ideas. He can live only meditatively. He cannot be thought as a man of character, the way you have become accustomed to think of religious people. The new man will not be a man of character. The new man will be utterly characterless. But when I say characterless, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking the way you understand. To me, the characterless man is the only man who has character. Characterless, I call him because he does not follow any dictates from the outside. He lives according to his own light. He lives meditatively. His character does not come from his consciousness. From his conscience, sorry. Conscience is an agency implanted in you by the society. It is not yours. Don't call the conscience yours. It is not yours. It belongs to the Christian church. It belongs to the Hindu religion. It belongs to the Jain philosophy. It belongs to the communist ideology. It has nothing to do with you. It is implanted by others in you. It is a very subtle strategy to dominate you from within. On the outside they have put a policeman, the magistrate, a court, and in the inside they have created a conscience. The real man, the new man, will be according to consciousness, not according to conscience. Of course, whatsoever his consciousness feels right, he will do, whatsoever the risk, whatsoever he has to pay for it. Even if he has to pay with his life, he will be ready to pay it, because there are higher things than life itself. Consciousness is far more higher than life, but he will not follow conscience. The man of conscience is known as a man of character. That's why I call the new man characterless, because he will not have any conscience. He will function out of consciousness. His commandments will be coming from his own center. And when they come from your own center, they give you a freedom. And out of freedom, life takes a new flavor, a new beauty. You do the right, but now the right is not decided by others. It is no more a slavery. It is absolute freedom. The new man will live out of meditation, out of consciousness, out of his own inner light. The new man will be an individual, not part of any collectivity. My sannyasins here are not a collectivity. Each of my sannyasins is related to me directly. It is not a church, it is not an organization, it is a love relationship. And because they all love me, of course they start feeling love for each other too. That is secondary. Their love towards me is primary. Then their love for other sannyasins is secondary. They are fellow travelers. But nobody is bound to follow me or to follow anybody else. It is a commune of fellow travelers, fellow seekers. There is no qualitative difference between me and my sannyasins. The only difference is a very slight one, very small one. I'm aware of my inner world. They are not aware, but they have the inner world as much as I have it. I don't have it more. They don't have it less. They have the whole kingdom of God within themselves. I'm not special in any sense. I'm not claiming that I am the Son of God. I'm not claiming that I am an avatar of God. I'm not claiming that I am a Tirthankara. I'm simply saying one thing, that I was asleep, now I am awake. You're asleep and you can be awake also. I have known both states, and the state of being asleep and the state of being awake, and you know only one state of being asleep. But remember, the person who is capable of sleeping is capable of awakening. The very fact he can sleep is an indication that he can be awake. There is no difference at all. I will go on trying to help people to be awake. The awakened man will be the new man. He will not be a Christian, he will not be a Hindu, he will not be a Mohammedan, he will not be Indian, he will not be German, he will not be English. He will be simple and awakened being. But Dick, it is possible that there may be a few people who will only turn into a new kind of sheep. But that too is not bad. As far as being the old sheep is concerned, it is better than that. So if you are an old sheep, become a new sheep. And from there the journey starts, a possibility. If the old sheep can become a new sheep, it is radical change. The sheep deciding to be new, it is a revolution. And if this much is possible, then much more is possible too. The fifth question. Osho, what is your definition of a politician? Nartan. If a man dodges cars, he is a pedestrian. If he dodges taxes, he is a businessman. If he dodges responsibilities, he is an executive. And if he dodges everything, he is a politician. And the last question. Osho, once you told a joke for Purna who was leaving, I'm staying, will you tell a joke for me too? Anandana, okay. A Jewish rabbi decided to sit in with the priest in his confessional box to learn the principles of the Catholic religion. Two women came, one after the other, and confessed to having had intercourse with their boyfriends, not only once but 3 times. For penance, the priest told him to say 3 paternosters and put $10 in their box. The priest was called away urgently to give last rites to a dying man. He told the rabbi to stay and hear the confessions for the rest of the people. Just remember to get the $10, he said before leaving. The first confessor was a young girl who told the rabbi that she had had intercourse with her boyfriend. 3 times, questioned the rabbi. Oh no, father, just once, replied the girl. Are you quite sure it wasn't 3 times? No, father, only once, insisted the young girl. Well, suggested the father, I'll tell you what, just say 3 paternosters, put $10 in the box, and the church will owe you $2. What a good idea. Thank you for listening and watching. I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Thank you.